Airtable. What exactly is it? What does it do? And how do I get started? Stay tuned because that's what we're going to do today. We're going to have this Airtable tutorial. We'll discuss what it is and exactly how you can use Airtable to increase your productivity and organize your life. Welcome into the channel. If this is your first time here, thank you for stopping by. My name is Paul, and on this channel we take a look at all the tools, books, and resources that are available to you in this digital economy that's going to help you skill up to improve your life and your business. And today we're going to take a beginner's look at Airtable and have this tutorial so you can see exactly what this app does. So I've been using this app for several months now, and I remember what it was like the first time I opened it up. It's just a blank page and you're thinking to yourself, what do I do? Where do I start? That's why I want to put together this quick video and give you a Airtable tutorial for beginners. Now I know it can be overwhelming, and that's one of the reasons why we like templates and samples so much, because by looking at what other people have done, looking at some templates, it kind of helps us get our juices flowing a little bit. And so we're going to look at a couple of things today to help you get a better understanding of what Airtable is. We're going to talk to you about what it is. We'll also answer some questions about what Airtable is not. We'll take a look about how much it costs, what can you do with Airtable, what are the elements, what are some of the vocabulary used in building this out, and then we're going to end by creating our first base together on how you could utilize this, and you'll get a good example of a situation on how I use this in my everyday life to keep me more productive and more organized. So let's go ahead, let's dive into the computer, guys. Let's get right into Airtable. So we're going to go ahead and dive into Airtable. This is what you'll see when you first log on. This is Airtable. So before we get into getting into it, let's go over a couple things. What is Airtable? Well, Airtable is built as a productivity app. It's an app that helps you manage your workflow, connect your data, and collaborate amongst your team. Now, the way that I build it, the way that I describe it is Excel times 1000. So anything that you could possibly think about using Excel for, you can use Airtable, except a lot easier. Now, if you happen to be an Excel guru and you know about pivot tables and conditional formatting and everything else, then there's probably no need for Airtable. But for most of us, we don't want to get involved in all those particulars, so Airtable helps you do all of those functions in a nice, easy, convenient way, no coding necessary, and keep it simple. So what Airtable is not, and I found out this the hard way, Airtable is not a note-taking app. It just simply does not have the functionality for it to have a easy way for you to take notes if you're one that likes to take a lot of notes on things that you're learning. And we'll kind of get into some of the differences in another video. We'll compare Airtable and what it can do with some of the other apps, productivity apps like Notion and things that it can do. So how much does Airtable cost? Well, if you go and take a look at the page, it's pretty simple. One of the things that I do like about Airtable is that it does have a free plan, and their free plan is pretty intensive. Actually, I'm still using the free plan for everything that I'm doing with it, and I find that it really, it does everything I need it to do. One thing that they did just add to the free plan is this one app per base that you see here. That is huge. Prior to the update that just happened a couple of weeks ago, you did not get any apps with the free plan. So the additional app increased the value of the free plan significantly for me. And if you need a little bit more, if you need more apps, if you need some integrations, or anytime you want to involve a team and allow teams to view and share workflows, then you're going to need to upgrade. And it's not too bad. I mean, $10 for the plus plan, $20 for the pro. This is for teams and companies. If you're a larger organization looking to use Airtable, of course there's enterprise plans. You'll need to contact them to work it out. But for me, I'm an individual. Most of you are probably solopreneurs, side hustlers, individual business owners, so you probably don't have a large team. The free plan is probably going to work just fine for you. Okay, so now let's go dig into the app a little bit. You can go there, airtable.com. Just type that into your browser, and it'll bring you to this page here. you would have to sign up. Obviously, if this is your first time, you go here, click sign up for free. It's pretty simple. It gives you the usual. You have to enter your email address and a password and all of that. I already signed up for an account, so let me log into my demo account. So here's, once you get logged in, once you sign up, you get logged in, you go through a couple of prompts to look at some videos. This is what you're looking at. It's a blank page, and I know you're looking at it like, okay, well, what do I do? Where do I go? All right, so let's dig into some of the key elements. Some of the key elements you'll see here, there's a workspace. So a workspace, think about your use case. So for most of you, you might be using it for personal. Some of you might be using it for business. Some of you might be using it for particular projects or be working with particular teams or different companies. How you organize your workspaces is up to you, but it's basically your file folder. So for me, I'm going to add a first workspace. I'm going to create the workspace, and I am going to name it my personal workspace. There it is. And then I am going to, so after you create your workspace, it's going to ask you to create a base. So the base is what starts the objects that you want in that workspace. So we're just going to start from scratch. We're going to create our first base. And for this, what is the base? Well, what are you using it for? So this one is going to be a finance page. And you can customize your page. You can see here it's orange, but let me change the color. I want this as maybe green because it's finance, money. And then let's see, you can add a little emoji or some type of icon to it. You see the flat icons. Let's put some money on here. So that's our base. So now we have finances, and that's our base. If you go back to the home page by clicking here, you can see your personal workspace is set up, and our first base is finance. So now I want to add maybe a second workspace. So right here you can add a workspace, and let's create a second workspace. So the second workspace is going to be a business workspace. I just want to do this so you can see what it looks like. And that's it. So you have your personal workspace, you have your business workspace. That's about as complicated as it gets. Within your workspaces, you are going to have bases. So for each particular thing, so let's do a finance base, and let's add a second base. Let's say this base is going to be, I don't know, say it's, you want to track all of your items. So items for insurance. This is a great use case for this because you can think if you want to track all of your items in case you have an insurance claim, oftentimes they're going to ask you for pictures, what it was, what the worth is. So let's say items for insurance, and we're going to make this one, I don't know, let's make it red because red means danger, something happened. And you have all these items listed, and let's just say, I don't know, personal items, maybe a briefcase. So there you go. So we set up our bases. So now we have two bases set up in our personal workspace. We have our finance, we have our items for insurance, and so we're good to go. So let's go ahead and build on our base. So within the base, you're going to have views. And your first view is going to be just like you would a spreadsheet. You're going to have columns and you're going to have rows. So for every item is going to be a row, and every column is going to be a different thing to identify that item. So let's just keep it simple. We're starting with our finances. Your first column is always going to be mandatory. That can't be hidden. It can't be deleted. You always have to have this. So for this, it's going to be our finance. We're going to rename the field, and we are going to name this bills. And these are going to be a list of our bills. So for the first bill, you could say is our mortgage payment. Our second bill is going to be electricity. Our third bill is going to be, I don't know, we have a water bill. What do we have? We have a cell phone bill. Right, and then you just add your items as you go, and we'll build this out a little bit, but let's go over to your columns. So then your columns are how you're going to identify which are the key items that you want to add on this view. So for the mortgage, what do we need to know? We need to know how much the mortgage is. That's what we want to track. So within the columns, then you can edit the field type. The field type is going to allow you then to either make it a single line text if it's just a one word thing, long text like if you have something long to write, maybe some notes. You can add attachments. You can make it a checkbox like either yes or no. multiple select, so if it's, you know, choice A, B, C, or D. Single select, where it may be just one thing. If there's a collaborator, again, if you're working on Teams, if there's a date, phone number, email, if it's a website link. So you can see all of these things. It could be a number, it could be, you know, currency, percentage, duration, rating, formula. Roll-ups and lookups are a little bit more complicated. It's more advanced functions that we'll get into in another tutorial. But all of these things that you could do. So let's just say for this, the mortgage, first thing we want to know is how much is our mortgage. So a mortgage, let's just say that's going to be a currency, and let's just say amount. So we're going to tell it amount. It's going to be currency. It's going to be in dollars, and I like using 10 cents. So let's save that. What else do we need to know about the mortgage? Well, we need to know when it's due. So let's go ahead and change this field type. This is going to be a due date, right? So we're going to call this due date. And since it's a due date, we can make this as a date field. And let's make that a date. And we can save that. And then what else do we have? Status. Let's keep the status as let's customize the field type. Let's make it a checkbox, meaning is it paid or is it not paid? And let's just name it paid. Question mark. Is it paid? If it is, check mark. If it's not, no. What else do we need to know? Well, for me, I have different types of accounts. I have a personal account, I have a business account, I have a joint account, and when I'm managing my finances, I like to know which account typically I pay this out of. So let's just add an account field. So for that, we're going to do a single select, because more than likely it's only going to come out of one type of account. And then we need to add what type of accounts there are. So here you would add your options. So my option here would be my personal account. And you can color code these. It gives you options on which color you can make it. So for my personal account, let's keep that. And then let's say it's my business account. And for the business account, let's make it green because business means money, more than likely. And I have my joint account with my wife. And for that, let's just make that, so let's make it pink or red for love, right? I love my wife. And then we're going to create that field. So now we have that. What else would you want to know? Well, for me, I like to know, you know, what type of payment it is. Is it a credit card? Is it a subscription? Is it food? Is it a personal item? So let's just name this, let's call it type of expense. And for this might be multi-select because it could be different things. So for this, let's just say this is a subscription. And let's just say this is a utility. Let's just say this is entertainment. And so you get the point, right? Different things that different types of expenses. It's called personal expense. Maybe let's just say this is a food item, all right? And let's just say this is a luxury item. And there you go. And you create your field. So now you have your fields. You have this. So let's just start filling these out, and you'll kind of get to get. So let's just say the mortgage is $1,000 a month, and the due date for the mortgage, if you click here, due date is, I don't know, let's just say first of the month. A lot of people pay that. Whether it's paid, yes, for January it's paid with the account, and that's going to come out of our joint account because that's the expense for the wife and I. And what type of, I don't know, let's just call it utility for now, right? For lack of a better term. Or maybe we want to add one. Maybe none of those work for us, so let's just add one. Let's just say this is shelter, living expense. Fat fingers today. So it's called a living expense. Create to add living. There you go. So this is a living expense, right? And then you have electricity. I don't know, say it's $150 a month. Electricity, pick your due date when that is. It hasn't been paid yet, and that may be coming out of the joint account, right? Cell phone, that might be a personal expense for me. So for me, let's just say that that is going to be due on, and I'm just making these dates up for now. I mean, I do have my my spreadsheet for myself, but just to show you an example. And the type of that is, we're going to call that a utility, right? And then maybe I have a subscription like my Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime. And for me, that's, I don't know, it's about $14 a month. And whatever due date it is, let's just say it's due on the 20th. And this is going to come out of my personal account. And this is going to be considered entertainment, right? And then let's just take, let's find a business expense. So a business expense is a website, right? And say we're paying monthly for your website, I don't know, 15 bucks, whatever it is. Due date is on the 21st of the month. And this is going to be a business expense. And this is going to be, what kind? It is going to be subscription, because it's going to be monthly. Okay. So what else do we need to know? So for me, I like to know how these bills are paid. Sometimes I pay my bills with a check. Sometimes I'll pay with a credit or debit card. Other things like subscriptions, they're going to be recurring fees. So let's give some options on this. So this is going to be a multi-select. And first option is going to be auto pay. And next select will be check. Next one will be cash. And the next one is going to be credit card. And let's just make a different one for a debit card, right? Because you may use credit card, you may use credit card. And let's create that field. Okay, so my living expenses, this is typically going to be paid with a check. Now, something like Amazon Prime, we're going to mark that as an auto pay, but that's also going to be coming from my debit card. And for the website, let's just call that auto pay. And that's it. Okay, so you get the idea. So this is how you kind of start building out your spreadsheet. And then we're going to add some items to this. So just create a spreadsheet. I'll speed this up, but let's just add some items in here so we get some different options. Here we go. Okay guys, so here we go. I just built out, kind of some basic expenses that we all have. Obviously it gets a lot more intense the more you go along as you build this out, but I just wanted to kind of give you a quick overview of this. So this is your basic database here. You have your view. So what's great is now that you have your view, you have everything built out, you can start playing around with this. So let's just say, okay, I like looking at this, but I want to be able to separate everything that's coming out of my joint account versus my personal account. So what you can do is you can group these together. You could group a field, and we are going to group this by the account, right? So we want to know the differences, and then bam, it's automatically going to group it out. So now you have all your personal account items, you have your business items here, and you have all of those that are coming out of your joint account. And if you want to save this, then what you do is you duplicate the view, and you can call this one grouped by account. And there you go. So now you have group by, and then you have your grid view. So then you can go back to your grid view and you can remove this filter, right? Because now this is all. So let's just call this one, maybe let's rename this one and call it all. Bam. All right, so now you have your all view. You can group these by looking at it different ways. And you can also filter items. Now, if you filter items, you would add a condition. So let's just say we want to see all bills that are contains a that is not empty, right? Because it's a check mark. So bills, it's the actual whether it's paid or not, right? Bills is check mark. So bam, it's going to show you all the bills that are paid. And if you want to change your filter, you go in and say, okay, I want to see all bills that aren't paid. Bam. All right, so maybe it's not that you want to filter. Maybe you want to filter by, let's filter by type. Type is exactly. The option is let's look at how many subscriptions do we have. Bam. Now you have your subscriptions. So you can see you can group it by different fields. You can sort by different fields. So this is where it starts adding value because you can start grouping things. And so you go back to your home page every day. You look at this, and this is your finances. You have your items for your insurance, and then you have your business workspace. So this is going to give you a quick overview of Airtable, what it's capable of, some of the key functions, some of the dialogue you have to know, workspaces, you have to know base or database, and then you have to know your views, and within your views you have different items. You can group them and you can sort them. That's going to give you the basics of how this works, and so I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up a few things. We're going to talk about what I like about Airtable and then some things I don't like about Airtable, and so you can make a decision on whether or not this is right for you. So some of the key features that I do like about Airtable is that it is not complicated at all. It's very simple. It's a familiar interface. You can see here it looks like you would on an Excel spreadsheet, except a little bit better, right? It has a better feel to it. It has aesthetics to it. It also gives you the ability then you can have different views. So for instance, if you want to view a calendar, you can see all of your bills, your due dates set up on a calendar. You can have a Kanban view. I'm going to sort it by the different types of accounts, and you can change how that is categorized. You have a form view. You can build forms. The basic one is your grid that you started with, but you have different ways you can view it. Some of the more complex ones you'll need. So it gives you some functionality. It gives you options on how you view it. So that's one thing that's good about Airtable. The second thing I like about Airtable is that out of all the apps that I looked at, and I looked at a bunch of them, I tried them, I experimented with them, Airtable is the one that gives you the best mobile experience. So it does have the ability to go in through the web version. You can use a desktop app. It does have an app that works on iOS or Android, and the app works seamlessly. You can go on there, and the reason why I like it, because some of the things that I chose to put in here, like my finances, I like to have the ability to go in and look at my finances wherever I'm at. Like if I get a concern where all of a sudden it may hit my mind that, did I pay that bill? Is that bill due? I can go quickly onto my phone, take a look at it, and see when that bill is due, and make changes to it, add adjustments to it if I want, change it around. So this is the best experience when it comes to mobile experience. Another thing that I like about Airtable is that it has the ability to embed your views onto your website. Now this was a game changer for me. This is what sealed the deal for me to use Airtable, because as you know, I am a content creator and I am on this journey with you guys where I want to be transparent. I want to give you all the tools and resources that are available. And the way I do that is that I share those with you. So I have a list of all of my books, I have a list of all of my courses that I'm taking, and I have a list of all of the resources that I have available. And I want to give you access to those resources with the links and descriptions. I want to give you access to my books so you know what I'm reading, take a look at the reviews. And out of all the productivity apps that I looked at, Airtable was the only one that gave me the ability to actually share it and actually embed it on my website. So there are apps that you can share. So we mentioned Airtable is good for sharing it among teams. So the way that you would do that is up here. You could share your view. And you could share your view with this link. So you can send the link to people for them to look at it on an individual basis, right? You can give them the ability to, some restrictions, so you can show all fields or not. But the game changer for me is right here. Embed this view on your site. If you click on here, it'll take you to give you the embed code. So all you need to do, guys, no coding necessary. Copy this code and put this in the HTML code on your website or whatever page you want it on, and bam, there it is. Simple. It will even show you what it'll look like. So here, you can see this is what it looks like. If you want to view a larger version of what it will look like on the desktop, you will click on that, and it's automatically going to show you what the desktop version will look like. This is what they will look like on your website. If you want to see what it looks like on mobile, here it is. This is your mobile version, so you can see what it'll look like on mobile. Very easy. This is the only tool that I found that will allow you to do that. And so key clinch in me, and I'll show you how I use that when I share you my books and my resources and all of my learning courses. All of that is through Airtable. So the keys for me is that it gives you the best experience on mobile. It does allow you to embed your views on your website, and it is simple and easy, and it's in a familiar format that we all know and love. But there are some drawbacks to Airtable. First of all, if you want to go back to our main page, it is pretty basic. It doesn't allow much when it comes to personalizing dashboards or give you a personal feel and touch to it. Yes, you have the ability to change these colors, change the icons, but it's nothing to the extent like a Notion or other productivity apps will give you. We will compare those two in a future video. Airtable versus Notion, will highlight some of the key differences between the two and why I decided to use both of them in my workflow. So if that is a video that you're interested in, make sure you like this video, comment down below, let me know that's a video you want to see, so I'll make sure I can expedite that in my recording process. But it is basic. This is what you see. This is your dashboard. It is pretty boring and basic. Another thing with Airtable is that it does have some limited functioning when it comes to customizing it. Now you do have the option, like I said, the free plan is pretty comprehensive, but if you really want to use it for product workflows and to come in teams, then you do have to pay for it. $10 a month for the Plus, $20 a month for the Pro, based upon what you need. Another thing that I don't like about Airtable is that it is not a note-taking app. It is horrible for taking notes. I tried to use it. I really wanted this to be my only app that I use because I liked the mobile experience. I liked the fact that I can embed it. But the limited customization hurt it a little bit. And then this is the one that sealed the deal that forced me to use another app. It's just horrible for taking notes. So there's a way that you could take notes. So for instance, let's go back to our original base. You can see here that, okay, so say I wanted to take some notes with mortgage. You would add a field, and the field that you would typically use for that is a long text field, and you just add notes, right? Let's call it notes. I can add notes to it, and it allows you to type notes, and it's pretty easy to type notes. But it does not allow for any type of formatting. It's difficult if you want to try to give some customization or work on the aesthetics a little bit. It's just quite simple. And for me, when I have my book reviews or I'm doing my videos, I have unique outlines and detailed scripts and outlines and formats that I like to follow. And it's just impossible to put in templates here to make that an easier process. So the ability to take notes is very limited, and that is a problem for Airtable. So those are your three downsides to Airtable. You can best decide what you need the app for, and you can best decide whether this is something for you. At worst, it's worth you going on there, downloading it. It's free. Play around with it. Tell me what you find out. All right, guys, so there you have it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. This puts an end to this Airtable tutorial for beginners. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button for me. It goes a long way to the YouTube algorithm to make sure other people are presented with this information. And if you're looking for some more tutorials on Airtable, some more of the advanced functions or some comparisons with some other productivity apps, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified as I bring those to you. Drop me a comment. Let me know what you thought about it. Let me know what you would like to see in some upcoming videos. And that way I know how to prioritize my video recordings to make sure I'm bringing you the most relevant content that's going to help you be more productive and more organized in your life. If you're with me on this journey, if you want to experience it in a deeper and more personal environment, the best way to do that is to make sure you sign up for my newsletter. My newsletter is my resource to send to you weekly updates directly to your inbox with all of my fears, my failures, my successes, and give you firsthand updates as to exactly what I'm doing, all of my projects, what I'm learning, and what I'm finding out here in this life. So I really appreciate you guys tuning in to me today. It's your boy Paul, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.